Hey everyone, it is Ed Gutowski, and what I wanted to do was to create a welcome video to our Introduction to Lit class, English 1B. Hey look, our class is going to be a lot of fun. I really have enjoyed teaching the online classes, the Lit classes online. They're always a lot of fun, and in particular, I think you have my favorite online class because the books for this class are really fabulous. So I want to just get some things out of the way, right? So we are an 8-week class, and so an 8-week class, it goes by really quickly. So you got to kind of imagine that you're taking a quarter class in the UC system, because if you blink really fast, the class will be over. The one thing that I like with our online class is that we never meet in person, right? Everything is online. And for our class, everything will be due on Saturday at the end of the week. So I basically allow students to have the full week to complete most of the coursework and course assignments. You do have a couple exceptions are that. So every Monday, you just have to do a check-in to see what's the agenda is for the week. You let me know you've read the agenda, and then as you turn in papers throughout the week, I'll just come in and I'll monitor your progress on your work. But everything really isn't due until Saturday at midnight. And there may be a few exceptions that I make when we get into the middle of the class. Like if we have a 100-point assignment, I may give you a couple extra days to work on maybe a longer paper. The other exception is that for week 1, I need you to send me a welcome email by Wednesday. And it's important that you send a welcome email. You introduce yourself to me, and that way I can make room for ads. I do have students that want to add the class, so it's really important to understand that if you don't send that welcome email, you will be dropped to make room for ads. And I've had students who have been furious at me, but you need to make sure that you send that welcome email. So let me just talk a little bit about the books for class and kind of how things are going to go. Introduction to Literature class, right? We're basically, we're going to look at various forms of literature. So we'll look at novels, short stories, some poetry, fiction. In fact, in week 1, there's a set of 10 poems that are the foundation of class, and you're going to look at one of these 10 poems and let me know what you think of the poems. And really, this is the first book we're going to look at. It's a book by Anita Shreve, and it's called Light and Snow. And Shreve is really an up-and-coming new contemporary writer of fiction who's gotten a lot of praise recently. And this is what I think is Shreve's best book. I've taught 4 of her novels, and you're going to hear, reference to her most famous novels, a novel called The Pilot's Wife, which is interesting enough, was one of the novels, my least favorite novels of her. She had a book about World War I that I taught over the summer that students really liked. But I think this is her best book. And for our class, we're going to kind of look at Shreve and ask, what makes her a significant writer? Does she deserve to be considered a significant writer of American literature? She's really contemporary. And the novel starts off great because what happens is Shreve always likes to start off her novels with a mystery. So at the start of the book, there's a mystery, and you're basically, she's a New England writer, so oftentimes Shreve is compared to Robert Frost, and that's why one of the poems, I think 2 of the poems to the foundation of our class are Robert Frost poems. But we're in New England, I think we're in New Hampshire, we're in the middle of nowhere, and it's just pouring snow. It's this heavy, thick kind of New England snow, and the sun is just starting to set, and out of the snow comes these two characters, a father and a daughter, and we don't know anything about them, but what we know is that every day at this exact time they start walking along this path, and the snow is just starting to get really heavy, right? It's something straight out of a Robert Frost poem. And their goal every day is to go walk this path, get to a wall, and before sunset, and then come back home. And they're running a little late, and the sun is starting to set, and the snow is getting thick, and we don't know who these characters are. We don't know anything about them. We just know they're a father and a daughter. And all of a sudden, there's a sound. And the father says, "Did you hear that sound? What was that sound?" And the daughter hears it, and she's like, "I'm not sure. Do you think it's a wolf? I don't know. Is it a bear? I don't know." But they hear this kind of crying sound. And all of a sudden, they hear this kind of car kind of peel off in the distance. And they walk over to the sound, and they found a baby that's been abandoned in the middle of the snow. And this is kind of the mystery that Shreve sort of sets up for the rest of the novel. And I think Light and Snow is just great. And what my students like to say is, what Shreve likes is she always likes to set up a mystery. And what she likes is she has to have like this popcorn event that is the background for her novel. So in The Pilot's Wife, which is Shreve's best novel, the big mystery, or the big, my student called like a popcorn event, is that there was a terrorist attack on a plane. And then obviously in one of her books, Stella Bain, World War I is the popcorn event. But really, in the end, neither of those novels are really, you can argue they're far more either about a terrorist attack or about World War I, because what Shreve does is she creates really strong and really interesting characters that drive the story. And what I like about Light and Snow is about ordinary people. It's not, the big popcorn event isn't a terrorist attack or World War I. And what you do is you start to connect to these characters, and Shreve starts to do some really interesting things. So Light and Snow is the first book that we're going to read. And then towards the second half of class, we're going to look at Mouse, which is a graphic novel on the Holocaust. So we're going to look at Holocaust literature. And I found that students have really liked having a section on Holocaust literature. Mouse is really, really powerful. It's a graphic novel, so you can look at it kind of one of two ways. Either I'm a great teacher because I'm teaching a comic book, or I'm a horrible teacher because I'm teaching a comic book. But now Mouse has been really powerful. It's a really amazing commentary on the Holocaust. And then the last book we're going to look at is this is X.J. Kendi's book on literature. Now, I know that the bookstore has the newest edition. You can get a used edition. I would check Canvas. I just happen to have a blue edition, but check Canvas. You can get a used edition. All the bookstores can be found, online. You can buy them at the bookstore. But that's kind of the gist of our class. I'm super excited. It's really going to be a lot of fun. So just remember, I need a welcome email by Wednesday at noon. You've got 10 poems that you're going to look that are going to be the foundation of class. And then I'm going to have you read over an article by David Brooks that talks about the role of literature. So, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what you think of week 1, and we'll get ready to start our online class.